Welcome back to Transitions. Today we are discussing retirement. Our first guest, Pat, took a bold step by moving into a new community when she and her husband retired from their jobs. They are taking it a step at a time and are busy getting to know their new community while trying to maintain previously established relationships. Many people wish they could retire, but just don't see an end in sight. Later in the show, Sean Humphreys will join us in a discussion about retirement planning. But first, Charlotte Tatterin and I are reviewing some tips on downsizing. If your retirement plans involve a move, or like many of us, you have accumulated a lot over the years, Charlotte explains how to let go of all that clutter. Well, one of the things that I find with collecting things is that it's really hard to get rid of stuff.
It's ridiculously hard.
Yeah, and I think that at this stage in my life, I really need to look a little bit more at maybe trying to downsize the amount of stuff I've collected. So can you maybe share with myself and our viewers some tips on maybe reducing our clutter?
Well, the first thing is obviously to start small and start early. If you know you're moving, you want to start a year in advance and then pick an area of the house and clean that one area at a time. You need to have that incentive to keep going. So having accomplished one, you can move on to the second area. And the other thing is measuring your furniture. If you're going to be moving into a smaller space, you really need to know that the furniture you're taking with you is going to go in that space. Trying to get it through a doorway where it doesn't go just doesn't work. And if you're giving that furniture away or gifting that furniture away, you have to organize that well in advance too.
I see. So that is certainly something that I'd have to keep in mind, because oftentimes your home is really because you've had kids, and so there are more rooms and more places
furniture
to collect clutter, right? So how would I sort of deal with that, with kids moving out and so on? Is that a good time to try to get rid of stuff, or what are your thoughts on that?
Well, if your kids have moved out, lots of times those kids leave stuff behind, and then you're thinking about moving out and downsizing, and you're looking at half your basement being filled with their stuff because they moved out and they've got a much smaller place and they don't have any place to keep it. So the deal is you call your kids, invite them over and tell them whatever is important, you take it away, and whatever isn't, it's going out the door. Charity gets a deal. So that takes care of that.
I think one of the mistakes that I made was maybe, and I think a lot of our viewers sometimes do that, is that we get really connected to certain things, and we really feel that those, say, magazines that are showing our favorite actors or models or favorite clothes, they're so special, we want to hang on to certain magazines or books. So how about that? How do we deal with that?
Well, magazines in particular, if you're a subscriber, one of the best things to do is have a group of friends subscribe. One of you subscribes, all of you pitch in, or you all subscribe to a different magazine, and then you swap between one another, and then you only get to keep 2 or 3 months of one calendar year. And the rest you should give away to charity or to your doctor's or dentist's office, and that gets rid of that. And you can swap back and forth so you're not stuck with all of it. End of day, it's paper, and if worse comes to worse, paper can become this.
I see. Recycle to be other things.
Exactly.
Yeah, when you...
so repurposing, reusing, recycling.
I see.
And if you've got too many of anything, I mean, if you've got bags and bags and bags and bags and bags in the basement of paper, and you know for a fact that it's not income tax, that it's not important paper, all of which should be in a firebox somewhere in your house or in a safety deposit box, then all of that stack of paper, you can again turn it into shredded paper. There's companies that you can go to that will pick it up at your house, and you can watch them shred it. You can take it to some places and again watch them shred it. So that paper is recycled. It's not in your life anymore, and you become more and more organized. So all of this becomes this.
I see.
One of the things you can do is turn lots of things into a little tiny thing, your jump drive. And they come in massive amounts of gigs, so you can stick thousands of photographs, although you don't want to save thousands of photographs because most of them are terrible, onto something as small as this.
Yeah, maybe some people, though, they find it hard to, even the photographs that where people are in the corner of the picture instead of, the best photograph and so on, they still want to hang on to those. So that's a good start, though, because it's takes up so little space, eh?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, and I think, are there some photograph companies that what they do is they will take a whole box of your pictures,
scan them
and
put them onto
a
jump drive.
It does cost a little bit of money to do that, but in the end, you do have them properly secured on the jump drive instead.
It forces you, just practically speaking, maybe cost is the reason, but it forces you to go through when I moved into my little house, from a very, very big house, I had a trunk full of photographs. Every Boxing Day I sat down with that trunk of photographs and went through them and thought, I don't even know who this person is anymore. A lot of them were relatives that are long deceased. They were deceased before my grandparents were deceased. I don't know who they belong to. They don't belong to me anymore. So I did the bonfire thing with that. And now I'm down to a small box of photographs, and now most is digital, so it's
on there,
all on there. And as far as inheritance stuff is concerned, the best way to deal with that is if you believe that you own things that your kids are going to want at some point in time down the road, rather than assuming they want to get it, and people spend $25,000 storing their grandparents' furniture for umpteen years because they feel obliged to it. It's not really fair. The easiest way to do that is to ask your family to come over, give them a Post-it note package each and a pen, and say, okay, I want you to just put a Post-it note on anything in the house that makes you feel like you might want to keep it. And then if you're in the mood of giving it away right away, then you can do that because you can't take it with you. And if you are taking it with you, you've got that information later on. You've written it on the back or the bottom of whatever that item is. And then when you are no longer able to keep it at all, that goes to that child or that friend or that person.
Well, that's a wonderful, wonderful idea, because it kind of avoids situations where somebody comes over and then they say, what happened to that table that Mom had in her house for years and years? And then you say, well, I donated it. And they'd say, well, I love that table. Well, I think opening up that discussion with your family and having them come and take a look at what, have been in the family for a long time is really a fantastic idea. I really, really like that a lot. And I like the idea of your kids coming over if they've left or while they're still there, sort of maybe committing to taking some of the things from the home. Yeah. Including a lot of the stuff that they plan on storing, because you have to let them know that you're going to be downsizing as they're upsizing, right?
And they have to realize that storage costs money. And then it may become way less important.
Oh, yes, that's true too. So you have some photographs here.
Well, end of day, when you you get really caught up with that whole, it's my family, you can have personal items that just simply go into a little box. They're little mementums that you have, a ring, a lock of hair, whatever the case may be, and a couple of pictures of the people in a group. This can represent 1,000 photographs. And all of those little things are right there. And all you have to do is look at one of the pictures and all those memories just come flooding out of the boxes, whether you open them up or not. So this can replace so much of this. And this is nice. This doesn't take up any room.
Yeah, no, that's wonderful. I think that that's
And the
a
rest
great
of it
idea. That's really good.
It's on this.
So should we be watching how much we have in our garage? And what about garage sales? Can you tell us your thoughts on that? Because we had a little chat the other day about garage sales.
And you
so
kind of like the idea.
of garage sale. Well, it's a step. For me, it's a step towards donation.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was saying that we live in Winnipeg and we're known to be extraordinarily frugal in Winnipeg. So unless you have an amazing a collection of stuff that dealers are going to come and buy from you, you're really not going to get rid of a lot of it. So for the amount of energy that it takes to put a garage sale together when technically you're trying to get rid of stuff, not pack it up and move it to another part of your house so that it can be disposed of in theory at a later time, and then you make $125 and you still got 40 boxes of stuff that you have to repack and give away. Is it really worth your while? So there's consignment places that will charge you a nifty little fee to help you sell stuff that is important. But really, I suggest as often as not, find a charity that involves people who came to this country with absolutely nothing and just give it away. If your kids and your friends don't want it, then let somebody who would be so overwhelmed with the notion of, oh my goodness, I just got this. I can't even imagine in my dreams of thinking about having that. It would make you feel better. The world works better that way.
That's a really, really, really good approach. I really like that a lot. So I think that you've given us a lot of pointers, and I'm sure there are more. You've done workshops, and we are going to post your contact information for you, and I hope that maybe I can consult with you ongoing on my decluttering process.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And the one thing I want to stress is don't think I make it sound as if it's ever going to be easy. It's not easy to figure out what's important and what's not, because it's all little features of our life and it all feels important. But end of day, you have to be rational and think, I've got 500 CDs. 5 of them bring back really, really strong memories, and the rest, seriously, most of us don't listen to them anymore. So they're taking up a ton of room in your house. So you can have invite your friends over and everybody bring their CDs. You switch and swap, and each one takes home the one they like the best, and then the rest of them, it's responsible for one person to take them to a Sally Ann or whatever the case may be.
That's a great idea.
And you can do that with a lot of stuff.
I like that. I think I'm going to do that. So thank you so much for coming in.
Oh, you're welcome.
I really enjoy speaking with you, and today you've shared a lot of really good ideas with our viewers. So thank you. Thank you very much.